The worst part is this is basically just going to be a really scuffed stream VOD. Who knows? I'm gonna keep the dropped frame notifications up, but again, like, just straight up zero warrant. Well, okay, I guess if the stream is just dead, I'm not dropping frames, right? It's just I'm dropping streams. Alright, there should be a chat room. I know y'all are on Twitch now. Dude, this is 4 tags at once. This is ridiculous. I already feel shameful enough doing everyone tags, which I know is like, that's just what you're supposed to do. But this is... What was the... I'm gonna compromise. What was the... stream tag? I forget. I think it was coach, right? Okay. Alright, hi. This looks like it's alive. I'm just gonna believe. This operates based on fate. Alright, fuck. It's working. Yeah. Let's go on Twitch? Yeah, I think we're fine. I think it was just straight up like I was basically forcing the stream to do 2 platforms at once with the budget of 1, as best as I can tell. Oh yeah, Twitch is a really good platform. Some would say Twitch is the industry standard platform. Some would say it's really, really weird that Galaxy of Heroes based itself on YouTube for streaming. You could say all of those things, and it would be pretty true. Turns out Twitch is good for streaming. Who knew? See past that microphone? Oh, like in here? That's so because it's like a hybrid. It's like I spent a lot more time on this than it was probably worth. But yeah, we got like a little bit of a green screen weird effect going on. It is what it is though. But yeah, hi. All right, this should be the last link of all time ever. If it isn't, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is again, I tested this. I legitimately tested this. People can confirm. And just it wasn't in the cards, I guess. Oh, hold up. That's a fail. That's a fail with a preload. Ooh, was it on purpose though? But that Ray health is really bizarre. That Ray health looks like a attempted snipe that landed at like 47% and then she healed up, right? Because that wasn't like a Ray doesn't park it here off of 1 heal, right? I guess. Okay, so we got some budget, but also I'm assuming. Oh, that looks like a preload. That looks like setup. Okay, he should have her. Alright, let's just jump in then. So, kinda just comfy counter against... Ooh, this is a double Phaeton though. I was kind of feeling gas here. I think I'm still feeling gas here. If we get the revive block on Daka. Gas kind of a favorite matchup on both. If there's a Kylo in rear, I'm not gonna mind spending gas here. It's not gonna get in the way of any possible matchup tables in the rear, so yeah. Let's just do this. Oh, can I see past the microphone? Alright, misread that. Yes, I can. It's just the perspective thing. Huh? Oh wait, hell yeah, we get the arc first as so we should just have to double dispel before the combo goes off. Good life. I think I'm just gonna damage down on Daka. Did not get the days I was looking for, but that's perfect. start with the extra dispo coming up quickly. Yes. This should be pretty fine. So... I almost want to Rex basic zombie to get that Terminator down a little bit. But I don't know that we really gain anything. I mean, we didn't land it. Whatever that's worth. Alright, Super down. Let's... He's down. This should be a solid 58, but... I'll take it. You know, for gas 501st, if you're like 3 people still full protection, you're feeling pretty good there. So, I don't know where Flareboot's at. Flareboot has been the one preaching the Canderous bug. If this was gonna go sideways, it would be because of this. To my understanding, I think there's a conditionality here. So it's not just first order team causing this. Basically, my understanding is just Canderous gains 8% Terminator whenever any damage is dealt by anyone on the team, is I think what's happening here. So, what does that mean for us? We do JTR here. How fast are we talking here? This is gonna be like 334, I think. JTR feels almost a little bit cocky here, but wait. No. It's Mother Thousand lead. I was gonna say, no zombie means this actually almost looks like Nest's territory. It's actually really, really close, right? Let's see. We got her to like 176 before lock this time. Oh yeah, that's that's 140% bounty. Alright. We're putting that to bed real quick. This feels irresponsible, but I want to do it. But if we spend 3PO, that might feel a little bit ugly. If it's gas, we spent gas so we don't have gas mirror. We spend 3PO here, then we won't have a very good feeling CLS matchup. I don't think I can spend 3PO here. Let's just... I guess we could just Vader this, right, actually? Yeah. Good measure. We do need a bit of get down, Mr. President action. What's up, Diller? Tyler? Diller. I don't know how to say that correctly. You can tell me. This feels a little bit overambitious, but all I'm really worried about here is Canderous getting a pop off with his bug. Let's just go fishing. I'm gonna try this. You give me a chance to use tech or weapon tech Vader against Night Sisters. I'm gonna take that. I do think this means we're supposed to do weapon tech on Situper first, though, because we're going to be facing down double Dispel first. I think it's a safe bet here. Or we could just outspeed them. Yep. Why not? Asajj being the Gear 13 of the bunch, I think, does mean that I'm supposed to try to get some extra DOTs here. Tyler? Yeah, that works. Yeah. Yeah. That's about what I expected here. I should have gone back in. So because we ran undersized, the Asajj actually had less speed, and I don't actually know that I checked spirit speed there. So Situper might actually just been completely unneeded. Ooh. Alright, this is... This actually, I'm kind of down one. Yeah, we got, okay. Yeah, that's enough tenacity to make me question some things. This Yeah, I feel so bad. I feel bad, but also I'm kind of sick of the mismatches. I mean, obviously this sucks for him as well, but like, let's see. I think I put Scion back on potency. Just looking at the speed, this still has a concern of GBA with the tenacity, but again, put the potency cross back on, it's basically a different ballgame altogether. So we're gonna get the pain back on most of them pretty much. We're good. Still have the concern of like, because I need to go first because my tray is year 12, brings with it the concern of I'm basically pricing myself down on the spies that I can use the 2-man for, and if I don't use the 2-man, then we lose most of the efficiency anyway, but yeah, year 12 spot. He did nuke, I didn't even know that he did nuke. Oh, was he even stealth? Damn. Oh, because he's not critting. Feels bad. What's your deal here? I guess Wampa could actually get some crits on Treya. She's actually out of full protection range already anyway, but what's up, sir? Is this scarier than I'm giving it credit for? I don't think it is. I mean, we've got the percent health damage from Scion having pain as well. I think this wraps up fairly easily here. Yeah, okay. Not bad, 61. I have a JK or JKL versus SLK guide. So, I still think JK or JKL versus SLK, unless the new Luke ends up drafting Jedi Knight Luke, which is extremely possible. I don't have a guide made, I could make one. I wasn't sure how high demand it was because I figured, well, I guess now that it's the second time around for Luke. Yeah. You know, that's actually pretty good. My hands have been tied with everything else, but... By the way, so speaking of that, I'm pretty happy with the format for the GAC videos this last time around. I am gonna skip the 6th one though, just because I don't want to get stuck in a backlog, and even this one I could argue, there's not a whole lot of interesting decision-making being made here, right? I think it's just, we didn't put Duke in the Grievous team, so we're gonna... I want to try, so I still hate Talzin. You can hate me for hating it, but I still just, in Talzin lead, if Magna or Grievous gets the stun on Daka, it feels like there's a lot of opportunities for that to go wrong. Yeah, I do want to get to talking about the jail requirements soon, because I think, dude, this last round actually delivered more than I hoped, but it's like a really weird emotional minefield. Did I use Daka lead? Yes. I do want to practice both, though. I pretty much always use Daka lead. Daka lead would be safe here. I do want to practice Talzin lead a bit, though. It's real this time? Yes, it is. What's up, Blessing? Sorry, I know that the server is probably getting notification spams. I mean, you could speak to this maybe, but like, Twitch and YouTube just straight up wants a spinning wheel. Like, there are so many technical difficulties today. I don't even know where to begin. So like this, Talzin brings with it some advantages and some disadvantages. I feel like the advantages it brings are only really necessary because you're using Talzin lead. I don't know if that makes sense or not, right? But just like, yes, you can use the basics to drag yourself out of a bad situation, but I feel like you also only really need that if you're running Talzin because Daka brings that extra beef. Like here, right, we have this, so we can start doing some of this business. But also look at how much extra damage Daka is taking right now. That does not feel great to me. I guess we actually could potentially just aim Spirit Blade and try to get back to full health right now. If we do this, we're gonna just bring Daka back up again, so maybe I'll try to keep L3 alive for this basic. Let's try to heal Daka up. Because basically, that's the fail condition here. That's all I'm really worrying about, is just the sisters die and the Daka gets stunned. Like if Grievous used that stun special here. This is the situation, right? Look at this. This is actually right here. We have Magna ready to go at almost 100% turn meter. If we had target lock on Daka, let's say, and everyone died into AoE, that target lock is actually going to reduce her turn meter some, especially if Newt's here, which is why a lot of the time Newt's a no-go. But also, I think this Magna might have used this stun by now. This is the fail condition, is like, with Daka, or without Daka lead, with Talzin lead, if she gets stunned here, we're just, like, we're screwed. It feels extremely bad. Like, there's no two ways about it, right? Oh, he did have stun, so that was actually the exact situation to be worried about here. And like, yeah, now that we're looping, why did Discord just pop up? Why? Okay. I mean, now that we're at this point, like, Grievous stun is still a concern, but like, we're kind of good. The only thing we need to worry about right now is just, like, could I please have all 5 Night Sisters back at once, please? There we go. Okay. There's the stun. See, that's the scary situation. Like, obviously it's Lone Grievous now, so now it doesn't matter. All we're really doing here is getting Plague with the stun so that we don't have to worry about Grievous doing anything. And now we're just trying to stay alive in time for a revive. Okay, there's the team back, and everyone's back at full health. Alright. I still kind of hate Talzin lead, honestly. Being, like, I could see the long runs there. I could see the potential loss if we just, like, one wrong target lock or, like, one unlucky... Right, because, like, we saw the Magna stun go out. That was, like, extremely narrow margins. If that was just, like, a slightly faster sped up Magna card or anything, that's disaster. And, like, Daka Lee can kind of take that, or it just, like, changes the flow of the matchup as well, so you're not getting put into that situation as much. You know, I feel like it kind of stalls out the amount of time that it takes for the first 2 zombie resets to happen as well, which I think is also a big deal, right? Because you're buying some extra time for the Grievous stun and the Magna stun to come out first. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, personal preference here, but just that's my read on it. What does the boy do? Ooh, okay. That might just be set up, but he had Ray where he needed to have Ray. Okay, that feels bad for him. So this should just be a tank piece on Malik opener. Which does mean that whoever's going to kill Malik is actually just going to have to deal. Ooh. What speeds are we dealing with here? I almost want to try the Gear 12 Droideka against Malik cheese again. That's actually insanely fun. Like, how stupidly that character can get cheesed. It's a Conwolf. Huh. Not the fastest. Also not the fastest. We've got so much left, though. What's up, Basil? Basil? So many difficult to pronounce names, I swear. For a second, I was debating putting on a hat to go over my COVID hair, but then I realized that I only just had, like, old St. Louis Cardinals hats. As I've traveled the world, I've come to realize people's opinions on Cardinals fans, and that's what I expected. Okay, Flavor, you're finally here. What's the true rules on this Candaris here? Great good piece on the new team. Yeah, he actually would have been, I think, a sicker draft to have there than, like, it was overkill with Night Sisters, right? The Candaris bug. Right? So, like, in this team, the Night Sisters are all going to give him turn meter, right? So, like, is Talzin AoE Plague? So, Plague applying also does damage, right? Yeah, from anything. So, like, isn't Talzin AoE technically, like, 80% turn meter from him, assuming that you hit the 5% and then 5 Plague? Like, that's... I kind of like that, to be honest. You can have some fun with that. Again, I actually kind of like some of what this dude's doing here. I do think that this was kind of, I mean, double pre-taunts I can't complain too much about, but like, chuck that in an SLK team or something, right? I don't know. That's kind of a cool interaction. Yeah, and then like anytime Plague transfers, that's even more Andrew's TM. I think you take Zalbar out of this and maybe just keep Zombie here. I mean, that leaves a float. Okay, I would say Zombie here, Daka here, just float out Spirit, right? You could do worse than that. Microphone looks like it costs more than my SWG account. It's actually not. It's actually one of the cheaper end microphones compared to, I'm sure, what Arnold and Mobile Gamer have. Their ridiculous stuff. I tried to not just buy the cheapest, but also still, dude, industry equipment is absolutely insane cost-wise. Just yells. The sound waves just reach your home. Okay, dude, we have everything. What's happy here? So Luke against Malik. The tank piece means that we're not actually going to get initial control here, which is actually kind of tragic. I assume most people like the slow Jordy cut. So. Actually kind of a fast Malik. Fair enough. For the tankier sets. I feel like, just in terms of like filling duty, I feel like Luke lead might just be the comfiest we'll get here. Luke lead, let's draft some assisters. Do we even have feats to worry about? Like, we have so much left and some of these teams are pretty exploitable. Foresight, so let's use GMI somewhere. Oh, this one. There's so much time left on this. It'll just happen naturally. I'm glad to see I still make the mistake of backing out after checking feats instead of just remembering to tab back over. Yeah, I think we'll just let Luke handle the business in honor of his return today. Let's just build a really, really weird draft around him. Shakti. But sure, Oldman isn't actually going to do a whole lot here. I would almost rather just hold him for something else, but sure, why not? There's that as expected. Pretty sure I'm supposed to just nuke Dooku right now. Didn't actually die. Huh. Fair enough, sir. None of this would have happened if I just went JKR lead. Spoiler alert for you new Luke owners, that's kind of a common trend. Also, because he's 225, this is actually way less of a powerful Luke effect than we could have had otherwise. Let's try to spread things out a little bit here, and the Bastila buffs might be the best time to go for the Malik one shot. Did I? Okay. Let me explain there for a second. That was muscle memory from JK or JKL, because I'm used to Luke being in the slot. The heart radio is extremely fast right now. He's feeling it. Hasn't felt this good in ages. Oh yeah, it still dispels. That's what I'm saying here. We need to balance. We've got... The moment I did it too, I knew that was about to hit. That's why I drafted an assist comp to build around Luke, though, is just indirectly chop away at him. That was supposed to be Bastila buffs, like all the racked up buffs on Luke, just going for a one-shot on Malik. Supposed to be being the keyword there. So if we do this on Malik, I have questions and concerns over Team Veer. Let's just... What? Okay, fine, fair enough. Shakti's taking an absolute beating here, actually. Just slow this down a little bit, just try to get some banners back, because... Yikes. By slow it down, I mean Blue's gonna... Okay, he actually did a one-shot, that's good. Really good here. Isn't Droideka still just on... Well, he isn't. Droideka not actually threatening anything here. Well, I'm gonna give this back to Shakti, just try to get her heal back. Some Droidekas are predisposed to nuking first, so I'm just gonna defend my banners here a little bit. Okay, this is gonna be good, but I don't think we can use this yet. Either we don't use this yet, or we just blow it now. Okay, or we could just... That'd look pretty good character, huh? This might actually get Shakti back to Grace Period. Let's just take this. This is about the best protection she's gonna possibly get. Close enough. 59's alright. Yeah, one tech on Malik basically just makes me more hesitant to run stuff like JTR, because it still means that you're going to be dealing with Drain, and JTR can't quite heal tank that. Hoda on assists. I would have had to look at the Terminator to see if Hoda, or if Newt would have had a chance to extortion first to pull somebody else off, but yeah, potentially. She was close enough to Grace Period that Hoda with the 5% should have dragged her across if that wasn't good enough. Depending on if Newt was getting extortion soon. Because Newt had just done the cooldown increase, which meant that extortion should be up next. Considering it's every other. Pharaoh, okay. Let's just... Alright, I think JTR should have a super favorable matchup here. That's not even Crew or any plus speed lead, so yeah. Should be plenty of fine, just do the old nest setup juggle. Gonna be practicing this anyway. Actually, I almost... Isn't this a better draft, actually, because we're just looking for offense for pushing extra damage on Nest? I don't know that we care that much about the exposes here, actually. I think that sounds right. Yeah, like what the heck do we actually care about the rest of the team? Let's do it. Is it guard time yet? I think probably actually had to use guard just to try to get through that right. I don't know what's going on there. Alright, this should be... It's not what you'd expect to see on the opener. Sure. Really, yours or some. I actually do need to, like, stall out a little bit here. Probably just do a con shrug. I really don't want to be hurting this team at all. I'm going to take a decent amount of counterattacks. With... Alright, lady, can you... Hurry up. We're waiting on you. Welcome back, Kira. Bye, Kira. Okay. Comfy enough. It's actually kind of sad. Captain Han Solo trying to bring her back. A little bit thematic. Respect it. Yeah, 3PO not really adding a whole lot there. If we wanted, we could just add a 3PO from there. I mean, it's... Oh, this actually does mean we get to JTR 3PO, right? There's no Hux. Is there any other possible... I mean, he's, what, speed up, but still only 240... Yeah, it's just JTR food. Still 240. Still JTR food. Look, you give me a chance. Oh, we did take away 3PO. I mean, we do have the stick draft. Being on 3 droid actually makes this a little bit sketchier, but it also means we don't have stuns. Is this gonna make Kylo weird? I guess we were choosing between spending R2 or 3PO. So, in terms of getting put in timeout, I'm pretty sure you're just always choice number 1. I know that's giving him speed, but oh wait, is this Zeta Phasma lead? Wait, we can't crit them. Wait a minute. And we can't here. Alright, let's just tactically strip advantage off, I guess? This is a weird twist. You're gonna taunt. Let's pull you off. Man, I knew that was potentially gonna happen. Alright, green screen's probably gonna look a little bit weird. Lighting is extremely difficult, and I have a weird clamp setup right now. I'm trying to do a bootleg home setup. Alright, we got the crit avoidance off. We basically just need to eliminate a Destiny before we finish, and be good. Go 3PO call here. Alright, we're comfy now. I'm so just not used. Like, Zeta Phasma was pretty much before my time. And, like, I'm aware of it, but I think this is actually one of the first times I've had to, like, actually think about the mechanics of it in the wild. Six should have this. She's comfy. You got it. You've just been sitting at like 0% turn rate the entire game. Oh, the dodge. Actually, is this... There's no way we're getting this. Yeah, that shouldn't be grace period. That looks like 90%. So I think the grace period... Like, so looking at this a little bit, I think it's the top of the notch here that's the actual line location. Like, if you look at this down here, I think 100% basically starts here. And this bottom part is decorative. It's a really weird thing to think about, but that's... I don't remember what got me thinking about this, but I think it was something to do with like Rey or 3PO, or like Palpatine with the percent health damage, with like some of those tier 3 events. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like this is essentially on this knot right here. Just basically ignore this. This is just like decorative fluff. So, unless we got another limited Destiny off, I don't think there's any way to really... Six should just... I can't complain. That's... That was incredibly convenient. Alright, this guy actually did manage to put in Anakin as a ship. Wow. This is the messier comp, though. Ship's still not my favorite, as intended, all planned. Falcon, Ebon Hawk doesn't really actually matter as much in this matchup. We still can at least do something to like pull JK out of stealth. And then, just because of my relative distrust of this matchup, I will bring her forth. Probably IG-2000. I still just, this ship, I feel like very similarly to Ahsoka, right? It's just like, this is nice. This is sick. It's really hard to be mad about this. It's also ridiculous how squishy this ship is. I actually don't have good context for what ship stats even mean, but I know that 75,000 is extremely low for ships just by... Like, this ship will just get blown up off of 2 AoEs. He doesn't even have to take heat, and if he does take heat, it's just, yeah, good luck, goodbye. So, granted, Gear 11 IG, I almost said IG 1000, IG 88, so, yeah. Should just be a dead vulture, yeah. So I think the mechanics of this fight are like really just straight up coming down to, how much is this? 20%. I don't think that this Sunfac, if we could get the Sunfac stun on JK, that'd actually be pretty sick here. I don't think that's in the cards though. Let's try it anyway. I'm curious. Yeah, no, still off. Maybe if it was Gear 13. I think there's just some gear threshold tipping point because there are some fights at my ship arena where my Sunfac does actually just go first. Weird. So, yeah, this is the point of the fight that it kind of keeps coming back to is, why? Okay, yeah. Basically, we wanted Anakin to be healthy here, but not piss him off too much to give him that much extra turn meter. So basically, we just really want Hyena to go here. This is slower than I expect him to be. If I had Plo Koon at this point, this would actually just be such a sick way to pull him out. I don't think Hyena has an actual TM source, right? Yeah, that's just a dead Anakin ship. So this should just be pretty much auto win now. Most of their chip line is low damage. We just need to make sure that we don't get Hyena dead in time. Yeah. Pretty messy banner way to do this, but against this this comp is just so offensively oppressive that I don't really expect that much. What's up, Savitar? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, this is what? 2 dead ships? This is probably gonna be like 60 at best. Alright, we got Cannon coming up next turn. Evan Hawk's actually a pretty solid Dispel ship as well, or not Dispel, Stall ship as well here. Just, by the way, I do think, if I was going to do like a hot prediction, I do think that Luke, I assume evasion is going to be a core part of Luke's kit, and I think Evan Hawk's unique with the conditional evasion, or foresight generation, is going to be a pretty core concept that they try to build him out. I would be shocked if they just make it like an actual evasion stat thing. We just haven't really seen conditional evasion come in that much in PvP yet, which I always thought was kind of weird, because, I mean, to me, it makes sense of just, like, foresight is a mechanic that is, like, simultaneously crazy strong. There are some, you know, counters that completely negate it. What's up, Matthias? Pay no attention to the bugs, those roads. Not true. It's always dragged out so long when just waiting on vultures to show back up again. If we make Buzz Rush, she's just gonna take it back off again, and that'll save us for some banners here. We'll dispel the Retribution off. Master's Call should at least move things along. No? No. There we go. Yeah, 56, that's pretty ugly. I guess this comp, though, kind of expected. The fact that Vulture dies on over just makes it kind of expected. Hey, look, the Discord tags, again, I feel really, really bad about tagging people for, like, self-promotion stuff. I know that's just... self-promotion feels weird, but just that's what you're supposed to do. But still, man, it just... technical difficulties are really unfortunate. I tested earlier, everything seemed to go pretty... or seemed to be going pretty alright back then, and then it just didn't. Alright, let's... I swear I can see it in here. Like, I can see the piece of the key reveal screen. Oh, is this... I think it's seeing this. There we go. Alright. So we had a bunch of news drop yesterday, and kinda curious. Like, depending on where you're at for just your history playing this game. Like, you are either extremely happy or extremely sad right now. So just to give a little bit of context here, I do think I do have... I'm not even going to pretend that I expected this to happen, but just coincidentally, I kind of have the hard read on pretty much the entire set of the first 10 requirements right now, with the exception of, like, Y-Wing Bomber, right? But, like, I've got them farming. They're coming along. But just Rebel-wise, like, in terms of just getting into the events, I can tell you right now, like, if the first 10 Rex came out today, I would actually just be done. The only thing I've had to do since this whole announcement started was just give R2 Relic 5 to Relic 7, which I'll do that now, gladly. Number Crunch is a pretty good Zeta, stature is pretty good, right? Like, but yeah, so depending on where you're at, right? There's this really weird contrast where, like, so for me, all of these characters make sense as just, I guess I don't have, do I have? Oh yeah, I do. All of these characters are just like, if you've been playing competitively, this is actually kind of the same vibe that we got with GAS when he came out, right? It's like, when GAS came out, that was actually one of the crazier events requirement-wise that we've ever dealt with. But at the same time, most of those characters, with the exception of, you know, arguably like Asajj is kind of a stretch for some people, Gear 13 Asajj potentially being needed. And like Separatists were a hard gear, but that was kind of like the marquee characters, not marquee like the event, but like, you know, the premier characters, like the good competitive, you know, it wasn't quite like your Darth Revan and Malak, but Padme was still like a very, very competitive B team. Same for Grievous. So like, if you were just kind of working on the stuff that already kind of made sense to work on, you're in pretty alright shape. I kind of feel like that's the same phenomenon that's happening here, right? Like, I think having Gear 13 CLS, I thought it might be arguably a stretch, but I went and checked SOGH.GG, there's actually like 60k. I mean, it was 60k for both Han and Chewie, so you could argue maybe some of those are players that might have one Gear 13 but not the other, but... What's up, Yabaka? Like, yeah, a lot of this stuff makes sense to have. Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second, so like... Yeah. Like, the weird contrast here, right, is... If you've been playing the game for a long time, you've been hitting these characters, a lot of them made sense, you know... CLS wasn't a natural Gear 13, it was more just like, they're a good team. Like, why not? Palpatine, man. I don't know if like, this might actually have to be... Might have to adjust the window a little bit. I can tell you right now, not even counting assumed gear for a possible Galactic Legend, and again, this is kind of just, for me, for my account, for my prioritization, like, you look at this list, right? And I'm willing, like, Dooku I can write off. I don't have Dooku personally, but I think I had to be an outlier there. I think a lot of people were happy to work on him, especially after the rework. And Maul, if you're a long-time player, you would have to have been playing before I started playing for it to really make sense. But I would also wager that a lot of veterans, I'm just going to look on the stream, this might break a little bit. If I just go to Maul, would not be surprised here to see... Yeah, right, this is kind of... mostly Gear 11, but you also see a fair share of Gear 12, right? Like, Zeta Maul had his moment of the meta kind of before my time of playing. So, this is like, again, for me, I invest in what I think makes sense or what will be strong. Oh, I guess my camera isn't here. Not immediately relevant, but I guess I might as well be here. Yeah, there's that. It's actually, again, I spent longer than I probably should have trying to beat it, but it's just, like, because there's holes here, like, it's actually just straight up, like, it's partial green screen, but not fully, so we need to take an insanely good camera or insanely good software. I have neither, so instead we get this microphone that drills into the ether. Yeah, it's, right, you kind of see this gear distribution. Actually, is it even picking up on the stream? Let's drag it up. This is the spread I was kind of expecting here, right? It's like, it's actually almost even more than I'm expecting, because, you know, for veteran players, maybe this could be in counting, you know, or counting veteran accounts that might have retired since, or like stopped playing since. But a lot of people have Maul because there was a good reason to have Maul. He's just kind of a character that aged out. So for younger players like me, no, you're not gonna have him. It's, oh, this is such a awkward camera position to like try to lean back in, right? But like, other than that, you go back. I undo back. Like, Sith Marauder, I feel like a lot of players were content to not work on him. I think you were pretty much fine with going Sith Trooper, HK, BSF, Malik, DR, and that team. So I actually think I wouldn't be surprised if Marauder ends up being a stretch for some people. But, like, you get into Sidious, you get into everything else right now. Dude, that... Okay, so just... If we're talking, like, cost value for, like, hoarding, how much it would actually take, if I decided, alright, it's Sith Emperor time, I'm doing this. When I finished Rey and started to work on Kylo, and this was, like, my crew team was just kind of, like... I think I got Fox and crew to Gear 13 just because I was like, this is going to be coming soon, I'll get them rolling. It's going to cost me more just for these 10 requirements, not even for, we don't know what's happening, you know, the last 5, we don't know what's happening with the actual cost. It's costing me more to do these 10 than it did to do SLK's requirements as well as SLK. And that to me is insane for some of these stats. But like, so this is the weird contrast, right? Is like, that is true. Even if you're a longtime player, chances are a lot of these characters, you know, like a Royal Guard or... can I actually... Will this function if I... Let's see... Nope. I thought I had it in my history. Maybe not. I mean, but it's what, right? It's Royal Guard, EP, Relic 7, Vader Relic 7. Like, those are the shoo-ins, right? Like, I have those. I mean, partially just because of, but like... what was it? I mean, Pyat, but also, I think a lot of people are probably happy to work on Pyat, right? Like, this is basically just a good excuse to work on Pyat if you're in that type of position. Pyat's an excellent character. And maybe hardest part about this would just be the fact that he's coming in so late is gonna end up penny pinching a lot of people. Especially because, like, 3PO and Chewie are farmable right now. I've already got 2PO up by, like, 18 shards. I'm putting, like, 3 or 4 refreshes on him per day. Like... character's extremely good. Even if he wasn't gel required and we were just in the off season, I would probably still be putting 2 or 3 refreshes on him anyway, just because 7-star Chupio seems just absolutely gross. I do think they tend to aim to be symmetrical. I do also think, like, if you just... I actually did predictions for my expected Emperor Palpatine full team. I actually ended up being pretty close to the mark. So, let's see. With this setup, the only thing that really threw me off so far actually was just Marauder. Which, I guess the shipping today was also kind of, I mean, everyone kind of assumed that like Rebel Y-Wing, Sith Bomber, they're new. I almost have a piece of hope that we aren't going to see new capital ships after all, which you could argue is already kind of a stretch, like the idea of a new Empire capital ship now, with Empire already having two. I have a human body. Hello. Hello, guys. You exists, not just a floating voice. I will say, for guides, I don't know if I'm going to do ham on or not. I don't know if that makes sense or not, right? Because the goal is the information there, and it'll be a weird judgment call. I mean, it'll be case by case. If this was AI, I still don't have proof that I'm not, for all you know. So yeah, right. So Sith Marauder like adds a really weird monkey wrench into all of this. Like we have what? Also, Krennic is like a big yikes. Krennic is like you have to be an Empire fanboy basically. All right, let me see if I can do this from memory. It should be you. It should be you. It should be you. I'll just leave you at the top here. I don't need to favor you. Right, but like, so the thing that I was thinking about here is like, we have so many named characters for both Empire and Sith. I was thinking like, probably get Brew in there. That's not Brew, but close enough. And then from there, you like, I would argue, I feel like Thrawn is supposed to make this list, right? I'm not the biggest Thrawn buff with his recent stuff, but like, Thrawn was still kind of like the power duo or trio below Palpatine, right? Tarkin as well, yeah. I like again. That's kind of the biggest difference between like Rey and Kylo's requirements versus this is like this to me feels more like a mega journey until you hit the Sith Marauder, and then things just get kind of more car Saxon shards. And you want to ask why it was already like, he kept on saying like 75, 80% sure I'm going Luke first. That number was like 99%, dude. I was trying to play conservative just to not sound like I was already full committed, but like look at this. How? Like, just it's such a big disparity. Like again, they could just be like, all right, guys, 10 requirements we're in today, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to farm gear from scratch for Luke, but I'm legitimately into the event. The only thing I'm missing is just shards and shards. I basically already pre-farmed all of the gear that they needed. Like, I will say, so you'll see I have some favorited stuff here. This isn't like inside info leaks. This is more just speculation. A lot of the gear that's left remaining here, I do think like Relic 7 Boy, I would assume, is just a shoo-in, right? Just based on the pattern in Rey and Kylo, kind of like what Matthew I think was saying with the symmetric approach. I do think we can assume kind of the same patterns for this event as well. Maybe like the tiers are different because I don't know that we saw any Relic 6 last time, right? So that should be the schedule, right? So we had requirements come out yesterday. Then there should be last set of requirements 13 days from now, and kit reveal 20 days from now. As I went back and checked, the kit reveals were straight up 1 week before the event came out, right? So, yeah, not bad. I don't mind that schedule that much. Like, you could argue, like, it's still a little bit too late for a kit reveal. And there's also still the whole issue of kit reveal doesn't get you the information. Like, when we got the Kylo kit, all I could say is, like, we need to see the numbers, right? Because literally everything in his kit was just damage. And so the entire value question for him beyond that point is, what are we actually getting there? I do actually think that these kit reveals should actually be a lot more informative, specifically because I don't think either of these characters are going to be doing... They shouldn't be attackers. They shouldn't be damage dealers, I don't think. I mean, Palpatine might qualify as attacker, but more in like a control role, I think would be justified. Luke, I think, is really deserving of a tank or support tag. I would be extremely bummed if we see Jedi Master Luke as a attacker. We've gotten too many dang attackers lately already. So I don't know if I actually brought this up yet. So I think it was Promethean Death, I'm pretty sure, is the one who's been putting together the spreadsheet in the Discord. When you look at GL Luke in a vacuum, the requirements are actually ridiculous for this character. Like, again, this is just stuff we've accumulated over time, right? But like, it's what? 1 legendary, 2 legendary, so that's what, like, you need an Ewok team, you need a Bounty Hunter team. A reminder to join GAC if you have. Like, you need BH ships, and then you need Rebel ships on top of that for, like, JKL's events. Yamada SE with AoE stun, shock, daze, and so on. The funny thing about that, I almost kind of want to start a series of, like, just small video topics to talk about. We're actually reaching a very close point where you can just construct a team that's immune to an effect, right? So, like, JKR, JKL. I mean, Rey's not a Jedi, but we could just put her in as, like, a Jedi Luke stand-in. Like, you could just straight up build a Jedi team that just stun doesn't exist for them. It's just not something they've ever had to worry about. Like, it's almost kind of problematic, in my opinion, of just, like, this idea that we would just reach a point of immunity creep. Because a lot of creep concepts I really don't mind, like power creep, all those sort of things. Because, like, power creep that's conditional is still healthy for the game, I think. It just adds more layers to be juggling and thinking about. But straight up immunity is like, okay, let's, like, imagine that this is, I actually don't remember off the top how many other, well, I guess Chewie is also with guard. Right, but, like, this whole concept of just, like, I'm gonna think. And I guess the amount that you could actually stack on one team still is a little bit slim. Right, but just this idea of, like, the team just does not care at all. And they keep on doing this with new premier characters, so, like, we have Padme. Fear is actually arguably where you could have it more. Is, like, he can be feared, but Padme can't. Or Padme can be stunned, but he can't. Dude just doesn't care about either. Like, I just feel like this CG seems to be really, really hot on this type of text, and I feel like we're just gonna keep seeing that lately. And I feel like that's a little bit scary. Emperor could overrule this? Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just one of those things, right? Like, when you're designing around these mechanics, it's hard to... Power creep can also be very unhealthy. Depends on what form it takes, right? I don't think there's any new characters that we've had that really feel like oppressive power creep, especially compared to other games that I've seen where it is very demonstrable. Like, are there characters that age out? Yes, absolutely. No questioning that. But, at the same time, aging out characters is definitely going to be a unavoidable part of this game, right? And especially with the idea of, I mean, just, it's kind of cheating to bring this one up as the example, but, like, this is kind of the thing, right? Is the people complaining about kit text in this game and the increasing kit text length, I understand, but at the same time, for example, TFP or Fox being the examples of, like, nice short kits that, like, you know, have a theme, have goals that they're looking for, and have, like, some pretty clear power spikes, but are also just incredibly short. It's hard to design new characters that are this short without more oppressive creep, in the sense of just, like, most of the time, if you're keeping stuff this simple, you're, like, the developers, if they're supposed to, like, make new characters exciting, are forced to just, like, make the damage numbers higher, or make the CC longer. Like, right, compared to, we have pretty much every new release now just comes with a new mechanic, or I guess you could also just say a reworked mechanic. So, like, we had Fear, which I think is still a pretty cool, interesting mechanic. They're already kind of phasing it out, which I think is a shame. I think Fear could still be revisited on new kits. I guess Piet did just bring it as well, but man, the conditional for Piet's Fear feels so flat to me. Of just like, if you're already in a position where Piet Heiwi is killing someone and getting that fear off, you're already probably in a position where you're winning that battle. I feel like. I mean, if it's a high relic Piet that can just fish for a AoE kill on a squishy, is different territory, but which is new mechanics, which I think it's a lot of what we're getting here, right? I still think that the support and tank space in this game is tragically underexplored. Usually, again, just because obviously this is a very attacker-based game. I think just if you just look at how many, like, again, generally I don't invest in a character unless they're worth investing in, and just sorting by attacker versus like, I haven't even done this test. This will be interesting. It looks like about 40% of the tank amount versus there's actually below this count amount, or a decent amount, but also Echo being a support is weird. And Yoda. And the tag system being so janky is actually kind of throwing off this comparison. Right, I would take him and him out of the list. Everything else I would say counts as support. Arguably Night Sisters you could argue as well, but like, I think I have as many Gear 13 attackers as supports and tanks combined. Even including the janky tags. I'm like, surprise, surprise, next character that's on the list, probably the next two that are going to have to get relooked as well are also attackers. Like, that's why I'm really hoping for Luke to be, maybe non-combat sounds extreme, but I really do want him to be kind of a Hermit Yoda, Watt, 3PO type of just... I'm a very mechanics-based person, and I like conditionality, and I want to see more of that type that gives you interesting decisions, right? It's not, like... Hermit Yoda doesn't really give you interesting choices, right? And even, like, Watt and 3PO... Like, 3PO is kind of just a stick that you add to a team, and either he's giving the Rebels the expose, or he's giving J2 the translate, or he's giving Padme all that extra protection. And in ideal cases, you'll get triple translate on Padme as well. And like Watt, most of the interesting decision making with Watt happens before the battle. It's just in the modding, honestly. Like, it doesn't feel like we have that many supports that are actually like, I don't want to say fun, because there's still, you know, plenty of chances to have fun with some of these characters, but like, I want a good, engaging support for like mid-battle. Also, it feels like we need a role that's just dedicated to like control, because like Palpatine I would not call support, but I wouldn't call him an attacker either. I don't know, like Mage feels kind of weird as a tag to use there as well, but you get what I'm saying, right? Is like, the closest that we get is basically just the Sith tag. Controller, I guess, could be the tag. Is just like, the rule isn't necessarily damage, right? Like Nihilus, Traya, like they aren't DPS characters, but I think giving them a support tag is kind of, and Traya, you got the unique, that kind of works, but healer, we do have it. It's just there's no Hermit Yoda in here. There's no, well, Jolie's in here. What's up, Bridal? Thank you. Yeah, I am more than a voice. Coincidentally. We're just chatting about GLs. It's like, so I think that there were a couple of posts talking about this when Rey and Kylo first came out, but like, there were the new Kraken accounts that would just, you make an account and then you just immediately whale all of your way into like an immediate Kylo. Like, that's an insane power spike, of course. Like, you want to talk about the issue of like hoarders and accounts and like how do you fight that? Man, it would take you so long to farm up to a SLK counter. Like, a new shard, are you kidding me? That's like ridiculous. But at the same time, like, the sticker shock, if you're a new account trying to approach Luke, it's not you. That's how insane this is. It's not sticker shock. You literally cannot do this. You cannot buy your way into Wampa, Hermit Yoda, and then even then, you're gonna be locked by Luke's event returning as well. So like, yeah, Galactic Legends are gonna be here the whole time, but until you hit that, until you hit that return on Luke whenever he comes back next 3 months from now, or just a year passes and Luke is in the journey guide. Like, if you're a new player, dude, no, good luck. You tried. Like, better luck next time. It's insane. Yeah, it's a really, really weird dynamic, and at the same time, I kind of like it, right? Which sounds weird to say. Like, I don't players get locked out of content or anything, but it feels cool to essentially have made the choices that we made over the course of this game, and then for what you expect to be difficult to roll around, and it's just like, oh no, our choices are kind of being rewarded here. I still expect, like, Stormtrooper Han. This is actually going to be kind of my personal karma, I expect, is I'm expecting Relic 5 Stormtrooper Han to be on this list. So, after I spent all of that time trying to evade doing that whole business with Tank Boss Lead, that time might be running out. I'm going to enjoy my last 2 weeks of this man not taking up any more GP in my accounts. Princess Leia, I would not be surprised. Like, I think this 3 seems like a safe assumption. Not to say, of course, don't touch anything now. Don't touch anything until they say anything. You think they'll stick with one Han? I was actually thinking about this. I had the same gut reaction as well, but then you go and look at the geo requirements, right? And it's like, granted, we could say they don't have a whole lot of choices here, but like, double Finn, double Poe. I mean, like, triple Rey, but that's like the main character, right? So I think that makes sense. But like, yeah, we had double Finn, double Poe. You already got Relic 7 STH. A lot of top players do now. This is like the real karmic retribution here is going to be the fact that my bounty hunters are still tragic, and also probably not going to have a chance ever to get upgraded now because of GL City. So I'm just stuck with a Relic 6 box here, which you could do worse. Houndstooth is a ship. Having a cool, strong Houndstooth is cool. But imagine if I just had a Stormtrooper Han. If that comes true, that might not actually happen. Gas counter. My tank boss is the version that I used. I still think it's kind of superior because the buff tenacity is quite nice. But also that was the real tragedy of it all, right? And this Relic 6 was too hard. It was too ham. It really didn't need to be this. I just was really excited about this working and wanted to go gung-ho. Gas was basically disappeared from defense entirely around that time. So it was. I still actually had a lot of fun making that video. Like, I basically messaged Clash. I think I got the idea from Clash just making some unrelated video. Clash had some like Kira lead against Gas video, and I saw that, and it actually got me like, let me try to retrace this. It started in the weirdest way possible, man. So the idea that I had, I think, was, so against Gas, of course, you want a tank that can gen protection, because that's the way Gas siege engines you down, is your tank's going to take a beating, your tank's going to start getting reduced, your tank is just no longer going to be a tank at some point. So the idea that I actually had, I think, when I reached out to him, was Tank Piece Vandor, which sounds like a hot take, but the idea that I had for the engine at the time at first was actually the 100% counter chance with the Kira lead giving you crit buff protection. And I thought that actually might be an interesting angle. Then from there it just turned into... It actually turned out that he was working on the Stormtrooper Han idea at the same time. He just hadn't finished it yet, but yeah. I don't know. Again, making that video was fun. I only think I've gotten to use it like once or twice in a GAC stream, which, like now we've got CLS Chupio, which is even more kind of tragic. It's just that's just the way this game goes sometimes. And you want to talk about characters aging out? Like that's. I might just start trying to do some weird stuff with Vandor. I kind of want to try sticking Vandor in like with a Ray team. If I see certain counters coming, that's actually a pocket pick I'm considering putting in, right? Because Ray's gonna put up the Crit Avoid. I actually kind of wanted to. Ray's gonna put up the Crit Avoid at the start, so like this guy I was fighting against for today, I was actually really tempted to go for this. He used the old like JKR GAC Thrawn counter where he marks Ray. So I was thinking that, like, even though, you know, the crit immunity won't really matter. 1924. I didn't even check that. I'll take it. You know, like, say this is Vandor in this slot. He puts Sia on him. You know, if he's fishing for gas one-shots or something, that is still 25% damage reduction, and you're going for a Ray that has crit avoid arrow with, you know, I think she's like 225k, so 450k total. Like, you could do a lot worse. Could be replaced SDH. Yeah, same here. And that's the other kind of the bummer is like my bounty hunters. You know, Relic 6 Bosk is cool, but most of the time those bounty hunters just aren't really going to be getting anything done. Like, I'm getting Grief Karga shards. Grief Karga is not getting my gear. As nice as cool as it would be to do. I would love to have him. I love to gear him, but I don't know, man. I actually screw it. This gear list is so dang daunting. How well this is gonna fit. I'll drag it. This is where my Palpatine is at. This is for just the requirements we have so far. Then, this is gonna look like still kind of an extensive list. I'm gonna keep, like, just say keep this in mind. I have this done already. I actually already have this hoarded and farmed out and ready to go. This is basically just Mon Mothma as well as Chupio's Gear 11 or Gear 12. Like, compare that to that. It's like how honestly, like, the 900 card Barleys isn't even the weird or hard part here for me. It's actually the 1000 stun guns, right? Carbani is, like, Tylo actually kind of taught me when I finished farming him, like, right before these requirements came out. If you're just throwing, like, you have Challenges, Guild Store, Shard Shop, GET Store, and even the 8-cost nodes if you are really like that, just going on carbs. I think I farmed like 400 carbs in 2 weeks. No shipments or anything, just pure, like, all cannons on carbs. Like, stun guns are not that targetable. So, 1000 stun guns is insanely steep. Like, yeah, it's a guild store type thing. It feels like they're really rare in Shard Shop, actually, too. I mean, carbs are as well, but I don't know. Just feels pretty bad. Like, even, like, so my idol supply is super depleted because I just went in on Kylo. So, like, getting back to 780 here, like, those are insanely expensive in the guild store, and that's about it. I know that they can show up in the shard store sometimes, but, like, dude, I don't know. Like, all I'm gonna say is, like, Palpatine better be a damn good character to be worth, like, pivoting onto him after Luke. Like, it sounds like blasphemy to me to say, like, maybe I go 3GL and then stop, but just... Right? Like, this is insane. Like, this is actually... And this is, like, depending on what the last of the list is, and again, like, my roster for Empire and Sith is pretty slim, so unless it's some weird, like, KOTOR curveball because they have Marauder in there now, like, for the most part, I'm assuming this list is going to keep going up. I would not be surprised if by the time that this is over, I might be looking at, like, needing 2,000 stun cups total for Palpatine. Including him in the kit, or him and his gear requirements in this list. Like, just... Real Council, that's actually what I'm kind of saying here in terms of, like, bounty hunters, for example, is, like, kind of just I refer to them as like your side projects or like your passion project, personal projects of just like, you know, for some people it might be your Imp Troopers was like a common example before, or to some degree Bounty Hunters, of just like, you know, they've added some pretty cool characters in the game. I think Mandalorian looks like a ton of fun. I love his unique. I can't work on him pretty much ever. Like, they basically added new content to the game, and it's just like, ah, yeah, cool. I'll get to fight against him sometimes, and usually with overkill. I mean, that's the Barbarian. That's kind of the reality of the situation. Is like, I will have 4 GL eventually, probably even by December, depending on what happens with Luke here. Probably by January. December's ambitious for that Palpatine list, but it's just like, that's kind of where I'm going here. Is like, Palpatine's cost is going to be so high that, you know, for example, like, should you farm Malak to 7-star? I actually didn't farm Malak for a while. I don't think I started farming Malak shards until like 2 months after he had been out, because when I first looked at Malak, this is an old number, I'm like pulling this off the top of my head, so this might actually just be wrong, but I think the magic number was like, if you're buying Malak shards from the GET store, a 7-star Malak from 5-star is essentially 74 full stun guns, I want to say. And like, at the time, in my mind, it was like, are you kidding me? That's like 2 full teams. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to spend that. But at the same time, it's just one of those things over time. I eventually started farming Malak because I decided I really wanted to have, like, faster than Darth Revan. Just, you know, in the midst of DR era, that was insanely impressive to have. It was a really, really huge power spike if you had the, you know, the top-end mods to support that. So I don't regret farming him now, and like, you know, just kind of talking about characters aging out and kind of accounts and the choices that you made. Like, Blade Baka, for example, right? If you don't have 7-star Malak now, like, how do you justify doing that? How do you justify farming Malak shards? Like, you've got GLs you need to dump gear into, you've got possibly Dayhill if you haven't farmed Wampa and Yoda yet. Like, that's such a weird value trade, like, value decision to make. Mystery Marquis is going to be a Mandalorian character? That is true. So, this is weird, right? Formulaically, going back to, I think, Matthew said, Palpatine is due for a second Marquis. We got Pyatt. He's due for a second. Holistically speaking, that should be something related to... Should we say Empire? This Marauder choice is so weird now. Everything else on this list is like very natural and intuitive. Like, you know, you had Krennic, Vader. I still think Thrawn makes this list as like his close underlings. Tarkin as well, sure. And Tarkin's more of like a governor, right? But like, he's still in the mix. Orsu, I don't think we will. Or at least I'm operating on the assumption that the answer is going to be no. So think about it this way, right? Is like, I get it. I get the whole, like, I had like less than 1,000 GET shards when General Skywalker came out, but like, I get it. But at the same time, unless you're whaling or unless you're a longtime player with a very deep hoard, like, how do you have the bandwidth to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, save, you know, 70,000 power shop currency. Again, that's about 70 stun guns worth. It might be like 56 to 74. 74 is the number that's still in my head still. Which kind of... I don't know if they're a good buy from here, actually. They're a little bit marked up, and you can still pick them up occasionally from down in here. Right, but like, I get the fear, but the problem with that is there's never a release valve on that until it proves to be true, and that might never come. So like, when do you just stop doing the speculative holding? I don't know. Again, I think part of this might actually just have to do with your account's age and like how much swords you have. And for something like Kairos, you know, no one really has that. But like for me, I'm still having to hit on everything pretty much full speed here. Like pretty much non-stop. I need to just keep hitting all the sources for all of the bottlenecks. I'm too far off the path. Yeah. And for me, it was just like, for like this is what 4 weeks of farming, 5 weeks of farming. I'm actually kind of like this. You know, stun guns are arguably a little bit low, but I'm kind of happy with what I have to show. Like this is, I will say, like Kairos, I've just been farming normal nodes for them. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, I guess best possible outcome for this next set of requirements would be a little bit of overlap. Maybe more overlap with the old GL requirements, or maybe just, you know, like Vader is already technically a requirement for GL Luke, right? Because you needed to have Vader to get JKL. Oh yeah, Farm Boy is absolutely on this list. I'm not disagreeing there. I think Farm Boy, CLS, STH, Princess Leia. What was the last one? I can maybe see Lando making the list, although Lando's already in for JKL. But then again, so is C-3PO, I guess. I think Lobot makes the list, man. I don't see it. Biggs I had favorited, like Wedge or Biggs. I don't think Wedge makes sense though, right? Biggs would be the one. Like Biggs was his actual friend, right? Wedge was just like squad leader. I think. Pretty sure that's true. I mean, let's see. Yeah, my favorites didn't apply in here. Should I sort this based on what's already confirmed? I guess it doesn't have to be in actual hoppers. Let's say speculative drafts could land. I don't think either of these two make it. I think Lando maybe does. I'll just toss them. Still the unnecessary counterparts Marauder. I almost feel like that's kind of Mon Mothma. No flame to her, she's a good character, but just like Mon Mothma doesn't really have that much relation to Luke, right? That seems that's kind of a stretch, in my opinion. At least him. Is that the criteria we're going for now? I think gas on Palpatine, or gas in Palpatine requirements actually seems very likely. Would not be surprised there. I guess gas under Palpatine would actually be fairly close to like a JKL under Luke requirement, would actually kind of flatten things out a little bit there, right? You're shocked on the requirement that ships to 6 stars. Me too, but then when you start to think about like having to get Millennium Falcon and then having to get the other ships for JKL's events, I think that might just be it for ships. Like, the ship requirements exist, but I just happen to already have them done. You know, a lot of people have HMF. Yeah, Barbarian. I'm not saying that's like an equal value trade, but just in terms of like adding to the requirement list. Radisson Finalizer at 7-star. God. I don't know, what am I feeling for this last slot that isn't just like already in the requirement list? I feel like I missed something. R2. Oh, it's just Wily. Duh. Okay, never mind. I take it back. That is full possible. So yeah, I mean, looking at this, like, Biggs being gear 12 already, that's like one of the first characters at gear 12, so that's just a happy accident. Oda. It was technically already in JKL. I think that they might have that as a write-off that way. I mean, we do have some overlap with JKL events, for sure, but for some reason, I almost don't see 3 Lukes happening in this event. 3 Lukes required. It's a smart Relic 7. It's finally time, boys. Phase 1 heroic Sith Raid is gonna be on notice. Yeah, I don't know. Right, like, compared to, like, we had 2 here, and granted there were only 2 to choose from. But then again, I guess if they're going through, like, I could see them doing, like, Farm Boy Luke with Princess Leia or something in some Death Star battle. And really, like, because we don't, like, it almost just doesn't help because this is more of, like, a journey-type roster, and this event was just straight up, like, it was like a legendary. Yeah, a legendary. It's just like, hey, action. Faction fight faction. Right? Like, I think that this, I expect that these events, not just like wishful thinking, but I do think that these events will feel a lot closer to like JKL's events, which JKL's event actually has some really nice flavor onto it, I will say. But like, this is just, like, you take a picture of this and show this to somebody, how are they supposed to tell that this isn't just a legendary event, right? Like, you go into... Sure, I'll bring SLK, why not? Alright, but like, compare that to like this. Like, where's the visible difference? There's no, guys, there's nowhere Jesus is actually coming. I don't think I'm allowed back into Luke's event, right? I think I checked this last night when someone asked me questions. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why, if you already have this done, why make them wait the full year? Like, waiting a year for getting into the event, I understand, for like the permanently available. I feel like this should still just let me in. This seems really, really weird. Gar Saxon for Palpatine. I'm not a big Imperial lore buff. I know the Gar Saxon's more prominent in the cartoons, right? But like, that was kind of my expectations for his prereqs is it was just going to be most of his named underlings. Emphasis on named. I don't understand why Sith Marauder's in here. It makes no damn sense to me. But yeah, I don't know. I will say for the rest of the week, I do think we're due for, let's say, a bit more spice. There's actually someone from Wolfpack in here. I assume that they'll be advancing. Hopefully, we'll fight them next or see them in the finals. Got Shadowlands in here, Mandalorians, Bad Batch. Bad Batch is actually sorry. All these alarms to make sure I'm not messing up. There we go. Oh, I didn't even see that they were Maul. Oh, they might have been Merc Field last night. Brackets are getting a little bit spicier. We'll see. I do assume. Ooh, spicy. I keep that in mind. This is a good number he's got right there. Damn, this has gotta be. I gotta look now. Yeah, you do. Of course. Okay. This is actually a very, very nice specialized Vader mod. Feel bad for just like coming this dude's account on stream. This should be a fun fight. I hope this ends up being next round, because, again, no flame to this dude. This was not his fault, but just the matchmaking's fault, but a bit one-sided. Not a whole lot he can do. Actually, I mean, there is, but not much I expect most players to know that they can do. It really just is his Relic 7 count, right? That's, damn. I think that's why we got matched. Gear 12 Phoenix. The time. Yeah, just a lot of stuff. Like, if I'm seeing, like, Gear 12 Qui-Gon, Gear 12 Clone Wars Chewie, even Gear 12 Clone Wars Chewie was kind of like a stretch for vet players, right? Ah, this guy's getting ready for Palpatine. And he's already ready. Look at that. Yeah, I don't know. See, this actually is kind of what I'm saying, is like, if you just look at Sith Empire, like for me, I was plenty happy to work on Marauder. I think he's great in the team. But I think for a lot of players, this is actually the spread that you're on. So I feel like Sith Marauder being added as a Palpatine requirement is actually kind of, ends up kind of being high for most people. I don't remember him being that part of the gear, actually, but still. That is a character that I think a lot of people will probably end up not having yet. Which, hey, Sith Marauder under Darth Herman's a pretty damn good character. Oh, so your matches are silly? You have him at Gear 12? Yeah. I think this will also be an interesting point of conversation, is like where you landed on your Sith Empire spread. I eventually went on both, but it was mostly just because I knew Sith Trooper had a second calling as like a Palpatine escort. So like, you know, yeah, it's, you get value either way. Just, yeah, we'll see. I mean, no flame to Shadowlands, but I swear, anytime that I have you all in my bracket, most of the time you all just get knocked down to losers, which, no flame, but like, it's gotta happen at some point, right? We'll see. Alright, so, I haven't actually decided yet. So GAC in depth, that video I put up yesterday, I feel really, really good about, but also at the same time, it took a lot of time. Not like a debilitating amount of time, but I do want to get GAC 101. Yeah, Clans Mandalorians, I recognize that name. I think Bad Batch is like a new merger guild, right? Like, I think I've seen them in the GP list as well. No. This, I think. I could be wrong. It looks like I'm Mormon. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I definitely know Mandalorians. We shall see. Maybe it's just because of the triangles. I just think Maw somehow. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Like for today's GAC, right? It's like there wasn't that much decision making to explain there. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know what I want to do with that. Like, the most I can say is just like, yeah, I used gas up front because he might have had Kylo behind. The same as I said for the other videos, like potential against Padme. But like, yeah, I used Vader on Night Sister because he didn't have Rey, so I didn't have to hold them. That was Vader 1. Like, I don't know. I almost want to like save that video format for when I think. Like, my whole policy with this channel wanted to be, I didn't want to make a video on something unless I thought it was interesting or like there was something important to say. So, I don't know, maybe I just like clip show for cheesy days and then break it down for interesting days? Maybe? I don't know. I still, man, I think there's some unexplored spice here. I mean, this is kind of just exploiting a bug and that's kind of crummy, but like, again, you just drag them up, I think. And if you're gonna really Canderous, right? Like, I do want to see if they can make him a little bit more singing. Alright, we can hang out for a bit, but anyone has anything to talk about or questions, but I think we've said most of what there is to say, and taken my GAC banner prize. Yeah. I am kind of just at the mercy of GAC matchmaking to give me interesting matchups for now, which, again, it's like being scheduled to go on Zera's show as well, and just in general. I'll be having a schedule for these kind of videos. You mean like GAC abridged or just GAC streams? Normally I do GAC streams at 5:30 p.m. CST. So the green screen and camera stuff showed up yesterday, but ended up getting like delayed till really late. So it was either like stream in a really late time slot or just went into today. So that's why it showed up later here. Thanks, Matthew. I saw a decent amount of activity on Twitch. So apparently there are some people on Twitch still doing some research. Turns out. I mean, I guess for general, like, we're talking about GAC abridged, I think it would be good to aim to have it out in the middle days in between. Just, yeah, again, like, I don't know. Maybe just, I think people like the format in general, but I just don't know that today would have that much interesting to say. Like, we'll see. Alright, let's just call it there. My throat is starting to get a little bit hoarse. Get some rest. I need to figure out what the heck we're going to do against TI. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. I actually had a pretty good viewer number. I appreciate the heck out of that. Hopefully continue to make more improvements for the channel. Because I'm giving myself the mulligan out of catching up on GAC in depth for the 6th rounds as well, and possibly even this one. I'm going to try to push forward on progress to get honestly, the thing that kicked all of this off, which is the GAC 101 series, which has easily some of the best improvements for this channel in terms of production quality coming in still. It's a matter of getting that finished. Hey, right along. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. You too, Machias. Let's have a good rest of our day. Because there's still plenty because earlier time slot. Let's call it a stream. Peace out.